Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting under the skin of Liverpool's dynamic winger, Luis Díaz.
Yeah, it's a great topic. We've got a whole stack of recent articles, fan discussions, things like that.
Exactly. We want to look at his contract, his performance, and, his future at Anfield. Especially interesting now, right after they clinched the Premier League title this May.
Perfect timing, really. Winning the league is huge, obviously, but top clubs, they're always planning ahead. And that means looking at key players like Díaz. His future is definitely a hot topic.
For sure. So what are we drawing on today? We've got reports from Anfield Watch, Football Express. They're looking at the contract talks, potential interest from Barca, Saudi Arabia.
Right. And there's a BBC pundit's view on his potential, plus a really detailed look from Liverpool FC Times at his, explosive start to this season.
Can't forget the fans either. We've got a Reddit thread digging into his value, and then the hard data spot track for contract details, transfer mark for market value, injury history, that sort of thing.
So the mission really is to piece all this together for you. Understand what's shaping Díaz's Liverpool future, his play, his demands, who else might want him, what the fans think, give you the clear picture.
Okay, let's jump in. The contract seems like the logical starting point, the real nitty-gritty.
Yeah, and what's striking right away is this kind of tension. He's clearly important, but the deal isn't done. Anfield Watch says he's into the last 2 years of his current deal, earning around £55,000 a week, reportedly.
$55K. Wow, that does feel low, doesn't it? Especially given he was second in appearances and league goals for the champs this season. Seems like a big gap between contribution and pay.
Exactly. And it sounds like Díaz and his people know it. The reports say he's looking for a big bump, maybe around £140,000 per week.
Right, putting him in line with guys like Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota makes sense from his perspective.
It does. But Anfield Watch suggests talks have started but are, slow. Those wage demands seem to be the main sticking point.
Which leads to this interesting angle. Liverpool might actually be open to selling. Anfield Watch mentions they'd want around $70 million for him.
That's the strategic tightrope, isn't it? Keep a key player happy, which costs a lot, or maybe cash in for a big fee you can reinvest. It's a tough call.
And then Football Express throws a slightly different timeline in there. They say talks are set to start this summer 2025, and they note his deal runs to 2027.
Yeah, but different from the final 2 years idea. It just shows how these things can be fluid. What's reported isn't always the full picture.
True. But Football Express does agree on his importance. They mention that with Trent Alexander-Arnold supposedly leaving, Díaz is seen as even more critical creatively.
That definitely strengthens his hand in negotiations, you'd think. More responsibility, more value to the team.
No doubt. Okay, let's shift gears. Talk about why he's so valuable, why there's interest, his performance.
Right, the on-pitch stuff. Liverpool FC Times really zoned in on that incredible start to the 2024-25 season. 5 goals, first 5 games.
I mean, that's Salah, Owen, Fowler territory. Pretty elite company at Liverpool.
It really is. And the analysis suggests it's not just luck. There seems to have been a tactical tweak under Arne Slot.
Giving him more freedom.
Yeah, letting him drift inside more, move centrally, getting him into the box more often, better positions to score from rather than just hugging the touchline.
Makes sense. We are seeing him pop up in those central areas more.
And it shows the development, too. Neil Mellor pointed this out in that same article last season. Díaz only hit 5 league goals in February.
Wow. Okay. So getting there much, much quicker this season, that really highlights the improvement.
Definitely a big leap in his goal output. But, for balance, we should look back a bit, too. Fan perspectives are always interesting.
Like that Reddit thread from September 2022, so early days for him at Liverpool.
Exactly. Someone was asking, basically, is he really as good as everyone thinks? Based on some early stats, expected goals, actual contributions, which were maybe lower than some other midfielders at the time.
Right. The numbers maybe weren't quite matching the hype initially.
But the pushback in that thread was strong. Other fans were saying, use the eye test. He looked dangerous, electric on the ball.
Yeah, and he was part of a great attack. Maybe his individual numbers would take time to catch up. People expected improvement. Some even thought he could replace Manny's output eventually.
It's that classic debate, isn't it? Stats versus what you see. And one Redditor actually dug up his stats from the season before, 21-22.
Oh, yeah? What did they show?
Higher numbers. Better goals plus assists per 90. Better expected goals plus expected assists per 90. So it's just maybe that slightly slower statistical start in 22-23, which is a blip, not his actual level.
Interesting. So looking back, those early stat worries seem Well, maybe a bit premature given his form now.
Seems that way. Which brings us neatly to the possibility of him leaving Anfield.
Right. If contract talks are tricky and Liverpool might sell for the right price, then the interest from Barcelona and Saudi teams makes a lot of sense. Anfield Watch mentioned both, and that 70 million figure.
And this is Anfield added some detail. Said Díaz's reps confirmed contact with Barca. It's not new interest either. Apparently goes back to 2023. His dad's known admiration for Barca probably fuels that speculation too.
But his camp denied pushing for the move, right? Said it depends on the Liverpool contract renewal.
Correct. And for Barcelona, the big question mark is always money, isn't it? Can they actually afford a deal like that right now? Seems unlikely given the reported constraints.
Whereas the Saudi Pro League teams, well, money wouldn't be the issue there. They could likely meet Liverpool's price and Díaz's wage demands.
That's the modern football dilemma for a player in his position. The prestige of a club like Barca versus potentially massive financial rewards elsewhere.
And remember Troy Deeney's comments back in September 24, the BBC pundit.
Oh yeah, he suggested if Salah left, which we now know didn't happen, he signed that extension in April 25. But if he had left, Deeney thought Díaz could become Liverpool's main guy. Praised his unbelievable form even then.
Shows the high regard he's held in, the potential people see. Even with Salah staying, Díaz's stock has clearly risen.
Absolutely. Okay, maybe let's zoom out a bit. Look at the wider context.
Good idea. Transfermarkt's valuation is pretty hefty, 85 million as of December 2024. Puts him right up there globally, in the Prem, and at Liverpool.
And they confirm that contract expiry date to June 30th, 2027. Gives Liverpool a bit of time, but the clock is ticking towards those final 2 years.
We should also mention the injury history. Transfermarkt lists that serious knee injury in the 22-23 season. He was out for a long time.
Crucial context. His consistency and form this season are even more impressive when you remember he's come back from that significant setback. Shows real resilience.
And there was that incredibly difficult personal situation, too. Anfield had an opinion piece, I think, May 2024, calling it his season of trauma and triumph.
Right, the kidnapping of his parents. Just unimaginable. His ability to perform under that kind of stress is, well, remarkable. Add a whole other dimension to understanding him as a person and a player.
That same piece made an interesting point, though. It noted that while he was Liverpool's most used forward in 23-24, started 42 games, the output, 13 goals, 5 assists, was maybe worse than hoped.
Yeah, respectable numbers, but maybe not quite hitting those elite winger levels consistently across the whole season, despite playing so much.
Which ties into another question raised in that this is Anfield piece. Under Arne Slot, is he a guaranteed key cog, or potentially a spare part sometimes?
Especially with him turning 28 in January, and Cody Gakpo emerging as a really strong option on that left side too.
So even with this amazing run of form right now, there are still these background questions about the long-term fit, the tactical evolution.
Exactly. It's a whole mix of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
His current brilliance, the contract standoff, the length left on the deal, genuine interest from other big clubs, Liverpool's own financial and tactical planning, plus his personal journey. It's complex.
Let's try and wrap this up. Luis Díaz, undeniably vital for Liverpool, especially this season. His appearances, his goals, that incredible start proof of his quality. But
yeah, he wants a big pay rise, understandably. Talks are slow. That opens the door to interest from clubs like Barcelona, though finances are tricky there, and definitely the Saudi Pro League. And Liverpool seem willing to listen if the price, around £70, is right.
it really feels like a crucial moment for him in the club. His future at Anfield seems to hang on these contract talks succeeding, or a serious offer coming in that Liverpool are prepared to accept.
It really does. Which leads us to the final thought for you listening. Considering everything his impact, that recent form, but also the money involved, both wages and potential transfer fee, what's the smartest play for Liverpool here?
Yeah, do you meet his demands, secure this key attacker, build on the title win, or do you cash in now while his value is arguably peak and reinvest those funds elsewhere in the squad?
And maybe more broadly, when you're watching football, how do you balance what a player's doing right now against their contract situation, their age, their potential transfer value down the line? It's a fascinating puzzle.
Lots to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.